Hello, welcome to our Spiralizer cooking class this evening. So I'm going to just dive straight in and show you how to use the Spiralizer attachment that you can now get for use with your Thermomix. Just so you all know, you also need the cutter attachment if you want to use the Spiralizer. So if you've already got the cutter, you can go on and get the Spiralizer. If you don't have either, you can get them together as a bundle. Anyone who's purchasing a Thermomix TM6 at the moment, they're coming free in there's a whole giant bundle with over $1,000 worth of extras, so you can get the cutter and the Spiralizer as part of that gift. It is also a host reward at the moment, and it's available on the website for purchase. So actually, the best way you can get a cutter and a Spiralizer is by becoming a consultant, because you can earn them as free gifts. So many ways to get a cutter and a Spiralizer. First of all, I'm just going to show you how it all goes together, and then we're going to cook some recipes that use both attachments. So for the cutter, you have a drive shaft that you put inside on top of your blades, and it only goes one way, so you'll know whether you've done it right or wrong. Then we have a basket that sits on top. And now if you've got a few different things. If you're using the cutter, you've got a cutter disc here. I'm not going to show you that right now. Mel is going to show us that in a minute. And I also have a separate class all about the cutter I can send you all. Tonight, we want to focus more on the Spiralizer. So I'm putting that aside, and I'm going to show you the Spiralizer piece. So you have two options with the Spiralizer. You have a thick blade, which is going to do like a tornado potato or tagliatelle veggies. Like, so you could call it that, like a ribbon or a thick blade. Then we have the green one, which I've already connected in, which is your zoodle style, so really thin strips. I'm going to show you both. But before I do, I'll show you how to pull this apart. So you've got on the side here some tabs that squeeze together to open this up. And that's how you swap out your blade. So you can pull the green one out, green for zoodles and the thin strips, and black for the thicker style. And so it's just a matter of swapping it out and putting that cover back on. It snaps in place. Slide it into your lid. There's only one way it goes, so you won't get too confused by that. I remember the first time seeing it thinking, oh, am I going to remember how to put this together? And now it's just like so easy. And so then we're going to put our, this is like the blade piece, the Spiralizer, on so that the triangle is at the front, facing frontways. And with our lid, we want this whole triangle to fit sort of in the feeder tube. If it's not sitting properly, you'll know because it won't work properly. So it's you don't need to stress over it. It won't work. And then on our Spiralizer pusher, we've got these pieces that stick out. I'm going to show you a potato because I've got it on thick mode. We have a mode on our Thermomix for spiralizing. And you can also use the cutter and the Spiralizer on a TM5 as well on manual mode. You don't have a mode that says Spiralizer, but you just turn on the speed and it will work. So yeah, I'm just going to show you this potato. And I didn't peel the potato because I've got those washed potatoes that you don't need to. And that's it. So then, oh, you can pull that out if you want to keep doing more veggies, but I'm just doing one right now to show you my tornado. And so you could do chip on a stick, or what I've done, I did this recently, my kids loved it, is I arranged a bunch of these just sort of like haphazardly in the air fryer, and I fried it, a bunch of it. They loved it. Just like really cool texture. It looked cool cut up. So now I want to swap my blades out to do the thin style. So I slide this out. And remember those tabs I showed you just on the side that you just squeeze together and it comes apart. Get rid of this one. Here it is. Going to put on the thin one. Snap it together. Slide it in. And we're good to go. We need the basket back. I'm going to show you with a cucumber now. because my family are really loving these cucumber zoodles or noodles. So just attaching on the feeder, and I'll turn that on. And I'm not pushing too hard, I'm just kind of guiding it down. Yeah, and that's it. So that's how you use the spiralizer. I'll show you what this looks like. Now, we've got 3 recipes we want to show you tonight. There's all the, isn't that cool? We are loving having this in salads. And then when you take this off, you're left with the end of your cucumber. You can just eat that or whatever. Do whatever you want with the ends. And did I show you the end of the potato? Looks kind of cute. So tonight, that's how the spiralizer works. We're going to show you it in a few different recipes. First, I'm going to cut over to Mel, who's going to show us how she uses the cutter attachment. So she'll be quickly showing us how the cutter is so awesome. And then I've got 2 different recipes to show you that use both the thick and the thin mode of the spiralizer. While we're going, please feel free to just ask questions in the chat. And at the very end, if you still have more questions, if you want to come off mute, I'll stop the record and we can chat about absolutely anything. But for now, let's go over to Mel to show us how the cutter works.
Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the cutter. I'm just going to show you how to do the grated cheese thick, and I'll do a cucumber and carrot thin. And I just want to quickly mention a really quick meal that I like making with the cutter is turkey. What's called a turkey bowl, but I like to make it in mince. Sorry, turkey taco bowl. So, and that's making your own taco seasoning. And I love this taco seasoning. I've been making this for a while now. And I just make a whole batch, keep it in here. So, quick night meal. You can fry some meat, mince meat, add 2 teaspoons of this, and then just I make it like a colourful bowl, especially for my kids. So you can just add your black beans, some tomatoes, avocado, which you can slice. I won't do that tonight. Some corn, but I'm going to show you how to do the thick grated cheese, so that you don't have to buy this one. It's the same texture, but without all the anti-caking agents and all the other bits and pieces they put in there. So similar to what Laura showed you, it's the same thing. You have to use the bowl with your spiralizer. So this is with the cutter. You've got your bowl. You have your shaft, which is really important to always remember to take out. There's been a few people chopping that. So put that just on top of your blade, pop the lid on. You have a double-sided blade. So you've got a light grey side and the dark grey side of the knobs. That's how you can tell the difference. So we're going to use the light grey side, which is the grater for thick or thin. And whatever you're using is placed upwards. So because this is the grater, we're going to put it upright because the food's going to go into there and grate it. So not the bottom, which I've been mixed up once. And I'm like, oh, great. So the other side is just slicing. So I'm going to do the grated thick cheese. So you put it back on, take the cutter lid off, and actually back to front that way. And I've just cut my block cheese in half because you want it to be the same size to fit in there. So pop it in, pop this on top, go to your reverse today, go to your menu, and we're going to do grating. So select your grating, and then so this is the TM6. TM5 is on speed 4, but this is your mode on the TM6. You've got thin or thick. So you want to choose thick, go straight to thick. As soon as you change the dial, it's going to start. So just going to lightly press as well. Same concept as the spiralizer. So I'm going to turn to thick and slowly push. And you can keep going. I just stopped it just because you won't be able to hear the noise, and then you can continue on with your next piece. I'm just going to pop it back in there again and do again. That's it. It's as quick as that. And I like to just put it in a Glad bag myself, can date it, and I like to use it for my making my pizza dough and pizzas, and just give it a bit of a shape. You might get a little bit of chunky bits stuck in under the blade where you can just pull it out. It might get stuck in the corner. That's okay, you can still use that. And I'll just take this out, which is great. And there we go. There's our really nice thick grated cheese. So that's that. I'll just quickly just pop that in a bowl, which we'll do later. So, put it in there. Actually see it better in here. So the cutter is really great, I find, when doing bulk, not just little like half a block of cheese, or I just find it's useful to do everything in bulk. If you're doing your sliced potatoes for your potato bake, I love doing it in 3 seconds. Chuck that in there. Okay, so now you can see there's your cheese. Yummy. I'll just got a bit of that in. Cheese stuck in there. Cucumber later. And now I'm going to use the other side. Get it clean. So now we're going to use the. I'm doing slicing. Yes, I'm doing slicing. Got what I was going to do right now. So now we're using this side, the grate. So once again, pop that in like that, and then put our bowl back on. Put this back on like that. Next, so I'll do a carrot first. I'm just going to do a sliced carrot. You can do, if you did a thick or thin carrot, it's a very thin carrot. So that's why I'm just going to do a little slice. And I love doing these slices when you're doing stir fries. You can do the mushrooms, carrots, or kinds of vegetables. So once again, select, we're going to do slicing. So select the slicing mode. And I'm going to do thick. Thin is really thin. It's almost like thin potato chips if you would have the dehydrated and you want to make them chips. So I chose thin when I was doing the potato bake and realized no, it's very thin. You want to do thick. So thick is like just a millimeter or so. So once again, same concept, to pop it in there, choose. I like to put this on first, get ready, and then push it down to thick, turn the dial, and here we go. So that quick to show you. So because this is quite a skinny little carrot, there you go. Oh, we even got great little some dip. So it's because that's a very skinny carrot. There's your little, I don't know if you can see very well. It's like almost little coins. So the rule when using the cutter is always using the hard vegetables, hard cheeses, anything that's soft, even an avocado. I've got an avocado here, which should be fine, but anything, if it's not firm, it will mush, and that's what you want to avoid. So that's that. And I'll just quickly show you the cucumber. When you do the thin grating of carrot, that's really great. I do sausage rolls, veggie sausage rolls, and I like that texture. If you do like spring rolls, sausage rolls, those kind of things, it's great to do the thin mode. Okay, so once again, pass it back in, lid back on, not changing the blade because we're still on slicing. Go, and I'll just slice that bit there. You don't have to. And once again, I can even just ready and straight to thick. Give it a little gentle push. You can always hear it when it's finished. So if you can leave it for a few seconds to linger, and then you'll know it's got to the end. That's come out nicely there too. You can see. Nice little cucumber slices. I can call my kids to come and have their cucumbers. And that's basically it. It's really simple, really easy, and I find it's really great to use when you're prepping quick meals. Save the time in the kitchen. That's it. Over to you, Laura.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mel. So yes, love the cutter. The cutter is awesome. And tomorrow when I email you all, I'm going to email you the recording of this class, and I'll also add in the link of more about the cutter in case you want to see more about that. But for now, I want to show you some recipes. So I'm just going to find the recipes first. This one is a recipe which uses the thin blade of the spiralizer. So it's one that I've done ahead of time because then I can cut out the cut time and show the cooking time to show you it quite quickly. So here it is. I wanted to show you how to use the spiralizer to make this new recipe called the Spiralized Veggie Nests with baked eggs and harissa mushrooms. Going a little bit fancy today. So we'll just get started. I've already got my veggies, so I'll skip those steps. So it's wanting me to insert the cutter. So we put the drive shaft in just on top of the blades, and then our basket goes in. And for this recipe, we're wanting thin spiralized like zoodle style. So I'm using the green cutter blade, spiralizer blade, putting that in. Now the blade part is to the front of the Thermomix. We'll sit that on top, and then we put our lid on. Just make sure, I don't know how to explain this well. Make sure these two pieces here that are sticking up go within the feeder tube, basically, which it should naturally do it. But if you're feeling like it's not going on easily like that, that's probably what's happened. And then on our pusher, we've got these pieces that you attach your veggies to. So the first one it wants us to do is the zucchini. Now I've left the end on of my zucchini because when we spiralize, it does have it keeps a little bit of the end. So you might as well use the end of your veggies instead of trimming that off. But just put that on as best you can. And I'll turn on the spiralizer. I think it just detached, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't matter if it does. If it detached, yes, it did. The only thing we need to do now is we have to take this off. I'll show you what it is. So very cool. And while I'm here, I might as well show you the zoodles. Very cool. So put that back on because we want to do another zucchini. And I'll see if it will stay. Actually, I have two more zucchinis. We'll see if it'll stay. It doesn't matter if it doesn't though. It just means you need to take it off. See how quickly it glides down. And I'm not pushing very hard, by the way. I'm just guiding it down. Yeah, that one came off too. So just need to pull that out. You're left with the centerpiece. Putting lots of noodles in here. It's very cool. Yeah, last time I did this, it stayed detached every time, so who knows? Yeah, so then we're going to put our zucchini into a bowl and set it aside. And we're going to do the same thing with our sweet potato. Very cool. Show you what we have here. A whole bowl of, with 3 zucchinis. You can see how many zoodles we get. And I am going to just carry on with the sweet potato. This is a bit thicker, so I'll see if it'll work. Sometimes if it's too thick, it won't go through. You know, it's going through, but my pusher was at an awkward angle because my sweet potato was kept. But that's okay. That is not a problem. Sweet potato noodles. So now this leftover end piece, you could put in stock or soup or into like a pasta sauce or whatever. You don't need to waste the ends of the veggies. And I've got one more I want to do. Don't know which way I want to do this one. Oh, okay. So this one is what I was saying earlier. My lid mustn't be where it should be. Yeah, it's not. So just the lid won't go, it won't work if it's not set up right, which is the good news, basically. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, basically I had the lid just to the side of where I wanted it to be. Yeah, a bit of a mess here. Okay, so we're going to put that with the zucchini. Oh, that one stayed in. So I could have carried on without opening it. If this stays in, then it's not blocking the blade, so you can keep going with more veggies. But if it comes off this one, you have to take it apart. So yeah, you get what I mean. Okay, all of our zoodles. I don't want this middle piece. Need to take the noodles off it. It's very cute. So we have a whole heap of sweet potato noodles, all spiralized using the thin spiralizer. So the way I remember to use the thin one is the green one is that usually what I would do with my green blade is make zoodles. So green for zucchini. That's how I remember to use the green one. The black one is a thicker tornado style, like tagliatelle veggies or tornado potatoes. So that's the black one, but the green one I do zoodles, and I've also been doing a lot of cucumbers to go in salads and things like that. So that's how I'm remembering which piece I want to use. Now, the thing to remember after you've been using your cutter is to always take out that drive shaft when you're done. Do not forget and leave it in there because you might blend it in the next recipe. So yes, take that out. And your bowl is clean and dry, ready to go. I just had a tiny little bit of sweet potato. You can't see it. Tiny little bit of sweet potato that fell in there. So we want to salt this quite well. It says half a teaspoon of salt, so I'm just kind of sprinkling a bunch in. My shaker is pretty good. And give it a mix. We're going to be making nests with these veggies, so it's going to be very interesting. Take that piece out. It's very cool texture. My kids have been enjoying having spiralized veggies, and my husband and me, actually. We all do. So we've been enjoying the different texture of either in salads or just lightly steamed spiraled veggies. It's like quite cool. Okay, that will be good. So we set that aside and we carry on with the recipe. Oh, actually, we need to set it aside for 10 minutes. So we'll be back. So I waited 10 minutes while the veggies were salted. Now, what I've done is just covered with cold water and it wants me to swirl around. We're going to remove the salt. So this is like similar to how you like eggplant in salt water and then rinse it off. It's like just helps it cook nicer. So I am going to drain this, and I just use my Varoma as a strainer. I don't once when I got my Thermomix, I decluttered lots of other things in my kitchen, and some things you don't need anymore because the Thermomix takes space. Well, the strainer or a colander is one of those things. So I just use my Varoma pot, and I'm going to run some more cold water. Sorry, my sink is over here. Over it just to really rinse out and get all the salt off the veggies now. So that's all I'm doing. And then I'm going to want to drain it. Now I have to be honest and say I've been using my Spiralizer a lot. A bit. It's still new, but I haven't made this particular recipe yet. So we're learning together. I'm just going to squeeze out the liquid. But that's cool because it'll either work or you can learn from my mistakes. I always find that recipes that are all in the Thermomix work fabulously. Sometimes the ones that need human input, I'm not always the best at, but we'll see how I go creating these nests. You can at least laugh at me if it doesn't work. Okay, so yeah, it just says remove salt, squeeze gently to drain excess water. I'm just squeezing. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I want to make the nest, and I've put some baking paper. Oh wait, sorry, I want oil as well. Make sure I've got all that water out. It's pretty good. Feels all right anyway. So 2 teaspoons of oil. I'm just kind of drizzling on whatever I think, and I'll mix that around. And I'm going to make 4 nests. I might see if I can try and get 5 because I've got 5 people home that might want to try this, but I'll see how I go. Um, yeah, okay. So I've mixed the oil through. Good. Yeah. And I've preheated the oven to 200. Get rid of that bowl. So let's see how I go shaping these nests. Um, yeah. After I make them, sometimes after you spiralize, this is something to tell you guys, it's really long. You might need to break in a few places. Otherwise, your spirals are so long. Like a cucumber can be a few meters, for example. Yeah, so I'm just going to break apart a few pieces. It's not like it has to have the hole in it because after it bakes, we're going to do that. So it's more just like a clump around. If you want to be really specific about it, you could spiral your veggies back around like that. It's not important, like it doesn't matter if you do that or not. So yes, I think my tray will only fit 4 of these nests, but I've got a lot of mixture, so maybe I need to make them bigger. I can get 2 trays maybe. I'm just literally just placing mounds on. I'm not doing anything fancy here. And I've seen 2 different photos of these, and one of them is where they look perfect nests. Another one is completely rustic. Mine will be the rustic style. That's my style of cooking in general. Always to be rustic. You know what? I'm going to see if I can get 6 little ones on this tray. Okay. So there are lots of other spiralizer recipes on Cookie Do. If you just type in the word spiralizer into the Cookie Do search bar, you'll see a bunch of recipes. They're all beautiful. There's a delicious salad I've been making to death, and thankfully my family love it as much as I do. By Adam Lior, chef, and it's just got the most delicious dressing, and the texture of all the spiralized, just raw spiralized veggies in the salad with this dressing is really good. So I recommend giving that one a go as well. Here are my nests. As you can see, super rustic. If you wanted to spend extra time making them look prettier, go for it. I always feel pressure to be as quick as I can on YouTube or on videos and classes because I don't want to bore you all watching me do this. Yeah, I'm going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes. While that is in the oven, we're going to make the next element of the recipe, which is the mushrooms that are going to be on the side. So I'm putting in some onion, just like a small amount. It only wants 80 grams. Sorry, I don't want the lid yet because I also want to add this basil. Grown in my own garden. I'm so proud. You could use other herbs though as well. You could use oregano or parsley, whatever you have. But basil is obviously a delicious flavor. That's going to chop for 3 seconds. Here's that. We scrape down the bowl and we're going to add some sliced mushrooms. So 100 grams of mushrooms, and I will scrape down that bowl. Oh, the basil smells so good. And a little bit of oil, 10 grams. Handy that the scales come up. Okay. Then now the recipe calls for Harissa. And I like Harissa, but I don't have it right now. But I want to show you that you can use sriracha. So it says it's subjective. So half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. I'm going more on the half teaspoon side. And now harissa is a sauce that's got like chili, garlic, and some spices, and it's kind of a smoky flavor, whereas sriracha is a bit sweeter. So just for my own benefit, I'm also adding some smoked paprika. You could also add a bit of cumin if you wanted to. I'm going to use that instead of my fingers are wet. So I'm just doing a little pinch. And this is like totally subjective. Put whatever flavors you want in with your mushrooms. So yeah. And we are going to cook that with the simmer basket on because anytime you're cooking above 95 degrees, you want your simmer basket on. This cooks for 8 minutes at 120 degrees on soft speed, sorry. And so that should be done around the same time as your nest. I'll show you when it's ready. Okay, yeah. I have just taken these out of the oven so I can show you. They're just like cooking nicely. We're only halfway done. So what we're going to do now is create a little hole in the center to crack our eggs into. And so it's still soft. It's still soft enough. It smells so good. Just those baked veggies. So I'm just using like a soup spoon. Oh, and our mushies are done. Nice. I'm gonna have to show you what I'm doing here. I'm literally just creating a hole. It's nothing difficult. Okay. But as long as I'm doing it right, it's nothing difficult. Okay. Because I still want to keep the whole circle, but just a hole in the middle. So I've just literally, I don't know if you can even tell. Yeah, hopefully you can. And I'm going to crack eggs in. Sorry, I just remembered something. Okay, so I'm cracking eggs in the center. And that's better. I only got out 5 eggs because the sixth person of our family isn't home. And I thought I'd do that one later. So it's like half cooked right now, but that means I'm going to have to take it off the tray. So that's sort of silly. I won't do that. I'll just bake it. Looking good. Okay. Wash my hands. Okay, so yeah, I've cracked the eggs in and now I'm going to carefully walk it to the oven. And this needs to bake for another 10 minutes. Sorry, I just remembered actually before I put it in the oven, I need to salt and pepper each one. And also, if for those who want it, some chili flakes. So I'm going to do chili flakes on half of them because the other half don't like chili. And it's the same half who don't like mushrooms. So I was able to put the harissa in. So all good. It's going to be yummy for me and those of us who like mushrooms and chili. Okay, going in the oven. Now here they are out of the oven. So you can see. Remember, I didn't put an egg in the oven. So I'm going to show you now what it looks like plated up. I'll just grab a random one. I'm so excited about this. I think they look really good, actually. So there's our veggie egg nest and with the mushrooms as well. They've been sitting there ready. We'll just put some of those on the side. Oh, and the onion. How good does that look? Actually, I think I want a bit more. Okay, and then if you want to, garnish with a bit of basil. I've got grabbed some more basil out of my garden. And there we have it. Hopefully you can see how beautiful that is. Now I'm just going to cut in so you can see. Looks so good. Yeah, the yolk is still really nicely liquidy in there. So if you wanted it cooked longer, if you like it cooked harder, just keep it in the oven longer. But that's how I would like it. That looks delicious. And I'm very excited to have a taste. But yeah, hope you enjoy and thanks for cooking with us. So my family absolutely loved those. They loved that it looked very different to other meals that I normally cooked. They loved the texture of the veggies because they crisped up around the side. We always love eggs. So yes, it was fun to do something different. I never would have made something like that if I didn't have a spiralizer to spiralize my veggies like that. So yeah, we really enjoyed that meal. So if you have a spiralizer, I recommend it. It's a fun one to make. And so now I want to show you another recipe using the thick blade of the spiralizer. So this is another one I prepared earlier so I could cut out that cook time again. I hope you don't mind my doing that instead of cooking live, but it's just to shorten the time for you all. And so here we go. Hello, I wanted to show you how to use the spiralizer in a recipe that I'm going to show you how to make, which is called the chicken veloute meal. It's an old classic Thermomix recipe. But first, I want to show you how to spiralize some veggies that is going to be part of the recipe. So we put our drive shaft on top of our blades. There's only one way it fits, so that's easy. Then you add your basket. And so we're going to use the thick blade of the spiralizer to make tagliatelle style veggies. So it's the black one. So this one is, we won't use the green one for this recipe. And we just put the cutting disc piece on and then our lid. Doesn't fit easily, then it's in the right spot. See how easy that just went down? That's what it's meant to be. Okay, so then on our pusher for the spiralizer, we've got sort of jagged pieces sticking out where you can insert the end of your veggies. I'm actually going to, when you spiralize veggies, you do end up having a little bit on the end that isn't spiralized. So I've kept my end on because I can just throw that away then. So I'm going to put that in and press my spiralizer mode, and I'm ready to go. So I'm just guiding it down. I'm not pushing too firmly, just helping it go, basically. And then what I'm left with is the end that I talked about and the centerpiece. And I will do that again with my next zucchini. So again, just turning it on and guiding down. Really cool. And take that off. Again, we're left with this piece. If you haven't secured this well enough and this gets down there, you can't just carry on with the next veggie because this will be blocking the blade. So you'll need to take the lid off and pull this out. So just make sure you do secure it properly and then you don't need to worry about it. But I'll show you what we have. We have our spiralized, oh, that pulled apart as I pulled it out of the basket. But isn't that so cool? So I'm going to put all my zucchini, spiralized zucchini in this bowl while I do the carrots. So basket back on, and I'm doing the exact same thing with my carrot. So now with the carrot, I'm going to secure it on the same place and be ready to spiralize that as well. So just gently guiding it down. I've gotten to the end, so I've just pushed stop. Oh, I lost my end. That's okay if that happens. Just means I need to pull it off. See, that's what should have come through. That's okay. Not a problem when that happens. We just need to open it up and pull it out. And you're left with this. So the leftover pieces you can do whatever you want to do with, like add it to soup or stock or anything. If you're happy to throw it away, you can throw it away. But I can show you the spiralized carrot. it broke. It doesn't matter if they break because we're just um, going to be steaming these veggies. But yeah, really cool. Okay, I've got one more carrot I want to do. So putting my lid back and secure, I've left the end on again. Secure that on and in we go. Now, this spiralizer, once you turn it on, it will go until you stop it for 30 seconds. If you're taking longer than 30 seconds, it will automatically stop. That's just something to know. It came off again. But nothing bad. Look at all those cute spiralized carrots here. Some of the pieces have they break easily because it's thin, but you don't, yeah, it's really cool. Great. Okay, so I've got my veggies there, and now I'm going to show you the recipe I want to use these veggies on. Just take out my carrots. So I'm going to be making the chicken veloute meal. I'm just going to get rid of this spiralizer. Put that over there. When you're done with your spiralizer, always remember to take out the drive shaft. Some people forget that it is in there. And your bowl is clean and dry, ready to go for your recipe because all your veggies have come into your bowl. So that's cool as well. I'll just put that over there. So I'm coming into the recipe. This is an old classic Thermomix recipe. We used to do it at demos. It's very easy, but it's very cool. So a clove of garlic is going in and some oil. The scales are up, so I'm just watching to match what it's asking me to add. It wants me to add 30 grams of oil. I'm just watching the scales. And we put our lid on and chop that garlic. 3 seconds. Speed 7. And we're going to scrape that down and saute. So now, oh, I better get that scraped. That oil, that oil and garlic is just going to saute. Anytime we're cooking above 95 degrees, we put our simmer basket on top of the TM6. I've just activated the Thermomix to cook for 3 minutes on 120 degrees, speed 1. So I'll show you where it's at. So that has finished sauteing. I'll take off my simmer basket and carry on with the recipe. It's still sizzling. So this recipe is asking me to add brown onions chopped into wedges. Now we don't like cutting onions. I know no one does, so I'm going to show you my hack for whenever a recipe asks me to cut it in wedges. And it's when the TM6 recipe is asking for high heat mode, they want the onions to be bigger wedges, not minced, like in some other recipes where onion is minced, but which we might do on speed 6 or 7. This wants bigger chunks for our high heat mode. So I'm doing 2 onions. I'm going to press the home button. So I'm just in manual home screen now. Put my lid on and measure cut. And I'm going to go onto speed 4 for a few seconds. So speed 4 is quite a low speed for chopping. So it's not going to chop it. I've done 5 seconds. It's not going to chop it small. It's going to keep the chunks quite big because it's a lower speed. And so I'll show you what we have here. Kind of bigger chunks of onions. So that's going to cook on high heat quite well. So now I want to come back to the recipe. I'm going to press my bookmark and we're back. So, and yep, we're going to put on our splash guard this time because we're using the high heat mode. So I'm pressing done and activating that. That is going to sizzle away for 4.5 minutes. Okay, so here we have our onions sauteed, garlic, just very lightly sliding off my spatula. Just like translucent now. After that cooking, we are going to add the rest of our soup ingredients. So I'm putting in some water. And a tablespoon of stock paste. This is just your vegetable stock paste that you make in the Thermomix. This is from the freezer. So you can see, because of all the salt content in your stock, it doesn't freeze hard in the freezer. It's still scoopable. So you can see I'm able to get a nice big scoop out of that. Putting in a tablespoon. And so I just put it in a tub and take it in and out the freezer. Then we're going to insert our basket and put in our potato and leek. So I've got, yeah, just pieces of leek, just chopped, ready to go in, and some potatoes. I've got big potatoes, so what I've done is I've quartered them. I don't peel them though, just leave them as is. If you get those small potatoes, you don't even have to cut them, just put them straight in. Makes cooking this recipe so easy, but I've just very roughly quartered them. And we are going to put our aroma on top. So we've got potato and leek soup happening down the bottom, and above, I'll do it down here so you can see what I'm doing. It's asking me to put on some chicken tenderloins. So this is going to steam above while the soup cooks below. Nice and energy efficient use of multi-layered cooking. It says 8 tenderloins. I didn't count how many I bought. I just bought a little packet of the tenderloins. So put it straight on. I'm not doing anything that makes it look pretty. I'm just putting it on my Verona tray, which is the top part. And I'm just making sure there's gaps between each one so that the steam can circulate around. And just making sure there's room in between. Now, the recipe asks for tarragon, and if you have fresh tarragon, it is amazing. It's so delicious. I don't, so I'm using rosemary instead. And also, these herbs are kind of to infuse flavor into the chicken, so don't stress too much. If you use dry herbs, that's fine too. Yeah, oh, and we are making a sauce that goes on top. So if you have nothing, that's fine. Salt and pepper is always a good idea when you're steaming chicken. Some flavor. So that's what I've got happening here. So that is going to go on top. Remember your lid. And that is going to steam for 17 minutes, and then we'll come back for the next step. Hey, so that has finished. And so when you're opening your Varoma, don't open it this way that the steam goes in your face. Open it the other way. I'll just show you what we have here. So the chicken is nicely cooking, but this step, and of course I've dripped water onto my screen. I do this sometimes. If your screen isn't detecting your fingerprint, it's probably either dirty or wet or something. It just needs a clean and a dry. So it wants us to add in, basically, let me get rid of this somewhere, put that over there. We're going to add in our veggies that we spiralized earlier. So I've got my zucchini, and you could separate it out if you wanted to make, so this next step, it's only going to steam for a few minutes. So you don't want it to be all clumped together. Yes, adding in our zucchini. And if you didn't have a spiralizer, you can still make this recipe, of course. Just use a veggie peeler or something like that to peel long strips of veggies so that they're, this looks so cool in the Varoma. So that they're not giant pieces. We want thinner pieces of veggies for this. But it's an old recipe that's been around forever, using long strips of the veggie peeler. And then we add our carrots. So some of these are already separated, that's okay. Just want to separate it a little bit. It's very cute. Along the top of the zucchini or to the side, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter in the slightest. I could dump it all in, but what I'm doing, why I'm separating them all is just to make sure it's not clumped so that it cooks more evenly. And then I had some pieces still in here. These ones were the ones that were a bit more separated into points. Some of them are still spiral. Nice. Okay. And we put it all back in place. Make sure the chicken's cooking evenly. It looks great. Smells really good. And we're going to carry on cooking for another 5 minutes on Varoma and speed 1. And while that's going, again, you can leave the kitchen like I did last time. So you can go do whatever else you need to do around the house while your dinner cooks for you. Good. This is about to finish. So now I'm going to show you our oval thermo server. This keeps your food hot or cold for a couple of hours. Very cool. So I'm going to put the chicken in there on one side. Get rid of the rosemary, we don't need that. So that's all just nicely steamed, nice healthy way of cooking your chicken. And then we want our veggies on the other side, lovely, lightly steamed veggies. Spiralizing as they come out. Okay. Chicken and veg, I put the lid on. Keep that hot as I set that aside. And we're going to blend our soup now. So when you're getting your simmer basket out of the Thermomix bowl, you can see the simmer baskets in there. You use this hook that's on your spatula to go like this. But what I actually want to do now is tip the contents of this basket into the bowl. So I'm going to open the lid before I hook it through. And now I am just going to tip that in so that the potatoes and leek that have been steaming there are now inside the stock water, onion, oil, garlic mix. So we've got a nice gooey mix here. And we are going to blend that to make our potato leek soup. And that will take a minute. Okay, so in that minute, I was able to wash up my simmer basket and Varoma, and we have a beautiful, smooth potato leek soup here. I'll show you, which I'm going to keep hot in my thermo server, my round one. And so that it doesn't splatter up all over me when I'm pouring, I am actually pour onto my spatula, just so it's kind of got a way to pour down. And because I want to make a sauce to go on my chicken and veg, I'm going to retain some of this soup as the base for the sauce. About how I judge this, the recipe probably has a more measured way of doing this, but I look in my bowl, and if I can see 2 of my blades sticking out the top, I kind of want to show you, then that's a good amount. You can see 2 of the blades, but the other 2 are hidden down in the soup. That's a good amount to make a sauce for this. Let me see what the recipe says actually. Let's transfer almost all the soup, leaving enough soup in the mixing bowl to cover the bend in the blades. Yeah, that's about right. And we're going, I'm going to put my lid on my soup to keep that hot. Very excited because it smells delicious. Now the next ingredient is creme fraiche, and if you don't have creme fraiche, you can use sour cream. And it wants 1.5 tablespoons or just a dollop, whatever you think. I'm doing a good amount because we love sour cream. Creme fraiche is really good if you can get it, and I just didn't get that today. And the next ingredient is 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. So you can imagine the flavor of your potato leek soup mixed with some sour cream or creme fraiche and mustard. That's a really yummy sauce. And it's called Veloute, which in French means velvet, like a nice velvety sauce to go over. I'm just trying to finish off the jar a bit better. Because that's the end. That looks good. Yes. And so that is going to mix together just for 10 seconds on speed 3. And so we will plate up some of the chicken and veggies while the sauce is mixing. I can just show you what this looks like for our beautiful steamed tenderloins. And I'll get some of our spiralized veggies for the side. Oh, they look so cute with the spirals. Um, yeah. Anyway, on the side, I'll plate up. And then remember, you've got your soup as well. But I just want to show you what this looks like. This beautiful sauce, nice and velvety. Just drizzle some over your veggies and over your chicken. Serve it with your soup, and you've got a delicious dinner. So enjoy. I'll just see if the recipe says anything else. No, all good. Hope you enjoy that one. Okay, so yeah, hope you enjoyed watching those recipes. Just a few different ways you can use the spiralizer to go inside different meals. The other thing I want to show you is on Cookie Do, you can just come here and type in the word spiralizer and you'll see all the different recipes um, that use it. So yeah, they're really great to have a go. This is the one that's up the very top on the right. This is the one I was talking about, the salad my family's a little bit obsessed with. I've done it with smoked salmon, but I've also done it with shredded chicken. Have also tried a few of these. So yeah, give it a go once you get your spiralizer. If you don't um, have a spiralizer, you can still achieve, like you can still make these recipes, but you'll need to find a different way to get your ingredients the right texture. And if you're wanting to use the cutter in different recipes, like this is sort of similar to what Mel was cooking earlier, where you make a bowl with all your salad, but she had a beautiful turkey bowl going. Yeah, so that's the spiralizer, a little bit of the cutter. But yes, just a little reminder, both items are for sale on the Mix Shop at the moment. They are both coming for free with anyone who buys a TM6 at the moment. And you can earn them both by becoming a consultant. You can earn a Thermomix, but also earn those things, all the attachments at the same time. And the cutter and the spiralizer are also host rewards right now. So there's so many ways you can get these items in your kitchen. They are awesome to have. I've really been enjoying playing with the cutter for the last probably year. I can't remember how long, but we love it. And now the spiralizer, we're really enjoying that. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm actually going to end the recording now, so that in case you want to come off and have a chat.